Morning, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. G here. Today we're going to be looking at not TCI Science, Eureka Math Lesson 10, our problem set. Ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of the point where we got to in class before this whole COVID thing happened. I don't really think that this stuff is too overly complicated as long as you follow along. Okay, I'm going to do letter A. I'm going to try to explain myself in a very good easy to follow detail. So I'm going to get this here. I'm going to zoom in even further. Just a letter A. Okay, so letter A, ladies and gentlemen, we have two mixed numbers. We have 2 1/4 or 2 1/4 plus 1 1/5. Okay? So what we need to do is add these two things together. But as you can see, 1/4 and 1/5, they're not the same kind of fraction. 1/4 is divided into 4 pieces, 1/5 is divided into 5 pieces. And each one has one of those pieces. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to add those whole numbers together. Then we're going to find the lowest common denominator for 1/4 and 1/5. Then add the fractions together. Then add them all together. So I'll kind of explain myself a little bit better here. So let's take a look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take this 2. I'm going to take this 1, our whole numbers. I'm going to write 2 plus 1. Okay? Then I'm going to say 1/4 plus 1/5. We can kind of look at this as two separate problems, and if you want to put parentheses around them, it may help just to kind of know what you're doing first. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know 2 plus 1 equals 3. So our final answer is going to be 3 plus 1/4 plus 1/5. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after doing problems like this many times, I know that 1/4 and 1/5, the lowest common denominator is probably going to be 20, which is 4 times 5 and 5 times 4. So what we would need to do here is say times 5 times 5 times 4 times 4. And again, I'm multiplying this side by this denominator, and this side by this denominator. Again, that's kind of like the rule of thumb when you're trying out. Okay, so if I do this, it's going to be over 20, and so is this one. Okay, 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, so we can keep bringing it down here. Oh. Not quite yet, Mr. G. Don't go too ahead of yourself. Let me zoom this out a little bit. Okay, so I can bring this 3 down, and then I can say 3 plus, it's going to be over 20. 5 plus 4 is 9. And then, ladies and gentlemen, adding 3 and 9/20ths is pretty simple. All you have to say is, I have 3 and 9/20ths. That's your answer. Okay, keeping it as a mixed number, no problem. Okay, so again, ladies and gentlemen, I took the whole numbers, added them first. I found the lowest common denominator between 1/4 and 1/5. Then I added those fractions together. Then I took the new whole number, the new fraction, and added those together. Okay, same process needs to be used for all these, but the fractions do get a little bit trickier. Okay, let's take a look at letter C. In-depth look here. We'll put a little side deck in the corner. Okay, hopefully his confusion attack doesn't affect you. Okay, so I have 1 1/5 and 2 1/3. Kind of like the last one, I'm going to take our whole numbers, 1 plus 2. Okay, then I'm going to add 1/5 and 1/3. Okay. Again, I'm going to group these, parentheses, again, just to keep my own thoughts straight. 1 plus 2 is, again, 3. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have to figure this out. What's the lowest common denominator between 5 and 3? Okay, again, that rule of thumb, times 3 times 3. I'm multiplying this side by this denominator. I'm going to multiply this side by this denominator. Times 5 on this side. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it's all going to be over 15 for both of these fractions now. Our lowest common denominator. 1 times 3 was 3, and 1 times 5 is 5. And of course, I forgot the addition symbol here. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a look here. Basically, this is 3 plus, it's going to be over 15. My 5s look pretty crummy lately. 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you add the whole number and the fraction together, giving you 3 and 8/15. Now, oftentimes they want you to, I used to call it reducing, but it's actually called simplifying. If a number can divide 8 and 15 evenly, then do that, but there isn't any that can do that. So the answer should be 3 and 8/15. Okay, again, taking the whole numbers, putting them together, taking the two fractions, finding that lowest common denominator, adding those together, and then adding the whole number and the fraction, the new fraction, together. Okay, this last one will be trickier. And I think that Psyduck's confusion attack was ineffective for all of you. I hope. Okay, letter E. Let's get Psyduck in there again. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, 3 1/3 versus 4 and 5/7. Okay, 5/7, pretty interesting fraction there. Again, taking my whole numbers first, make sure it's all on the paper here. 3 plus 4, and I'm going to put that in a parentheses. And then I'm going to take 1/3 plus 5/7. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 3 plus 4, everyone should know that, 7. But this fraction is a little trickier. Okay, kind of like, again, using that rule of thumb, I'm going to multiply this side by this denominator, so times 7. And I'm going to multiply this side by this denominator, times 3. And again, we do this, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can get the same denominator on the bottom. 3 times 7 is 21. 7 times 3, also 21. 1 times 7 is 7. Just make sure everyone can see that. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, so what we have here, again, this 7 is just coming down. I'm not adding a new 7 or anything. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, basically, we have to add 7 and 15 up. Okay, so 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, my goodness. So technically, we have 7 plus 21 21s, or 21 21st. Of course, I made it so you guys couldn't see it, but we're good now. So 7 plus 21 21. Ladies and gentlemen, 21 21s equals 1. So we can say this problem basically boils down to 7 plus 1 equals 8. And that's all you gotta do. So ladies and gentlemen, again, remember, if we have the same number, numerator over the denominator, that just equals 1. So wildly enough, 3 1/3 plus 4 5/7 gives you a perfect even number of 8. Pretty wild. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you to show your work. That's one thing I haven't been seeing a whole lot of in the last few assignments. So really show your work. If you do your work on a piece of paper and not on the digital stuff, that's totally fine. Also, just take a picture of it. I just want to see your thought process. And again, it's more of, if you are making mistakes, I want to be able to know how to help you. Okay? So I don't want any confusion from you, Psyduck, or from my students. So anyway, guys, have a good day, and let me know if you need help. All right, have a good one.